Hi, my brave souls. It's me, Teresa. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how to take photographs of these cryptids because they're everywhere. I'm seeing them all over the place, and there are now like walls of them everywhere. So I know you can do this. I know that you can get really good pictures of these. So the first thing I want to talk to you about are these nice, fancy DSLR cameras. I have a Panasonic Lumix, and I took some video up on my mountain property. I just posted that as part of the Hawkeye training. And I've also taken, of course, photographs up there. But this video I shot in 4K mode, and it looked the same on my camera when I did the playback as it did when I connected my phone to my camera. I could not transfer that video from my camera to my phone. I run into these kind of little technical glitches all the time. So the best thing for me is just a phone with a case on it. It has a little magnetic closure, and I put a lanyard in here and wear it around my neck, and I just try to walk kind of smooth around and video as I'm going. I'm going to tell you, it's more difficult really to pull good images off of a video than it is off of an iPhone's live photo. The live photo takes at least 6 frames up to, I've actually got one photo that was like 14 frames or 15. I'm not really sure why, but normally the average is 12 frames. And it's much easier to pick those out of those 12 frames to go frame by frame so that you can watch for the movement. Now, like I said, the cell phone is, it's a great thing. They don't seem to know that there's a camera there. So I get a lot braver cryptids when I tape them with my cell phone. When I recorded them on the video camera, when I was taking just the still photographs, nothing. I got like maybe a couple little fairies, but that was it. I mean, there was really no good footage. They were hiding like their life depended on it. But when I carried the camera around and recorded in 4K, I guess they don't really maybe know about video recorders because it didn't really seem to bother them. And I walked by this cute little guy on the corner several times. Of course, I can't see him with my natural, with my eyes, but I walked right by him, never saw him. So you can just take pictures with your cell phone camera. And if you don't have an Apple product, mine's just an iPhone SE, a 2020 version. It's nothing terribly fancy, but it does have a decent camera on it. If you have an Android product, I think you can do a burst mode where you have like, usually it's 6 quick frames or quick photos basically within that, frames within that photo. So you can do that. Now, let's just be sneaky about it. One of the best photos that I took before I even started doing any of this was I took my cell phone, and I put it like this, and I put the camera facing behind me, and I just kind of watched it and recorded. Even through the cell phone camera, I didn't see anything. It wasn't until I went back and looked at the footage that I saw all of these beings. So if this is another benefit for you also, is because then you're able to cover your 6. You're able to watch behind you what's going on. That can be very, very important because there are things in these forests, in addition to the Sabe and the Fae from the other world and the gnomes and the dwarves and all that. There are dogmen out there, and I think there are werewolves out there as well. I've seen enough proof of it that I'm convinced these things are really, I took pictures of the dogmen, so I know for a fact they're real. I think the werewolves are too, and you don't want anything sneaking up behind you, particularly in a forest. And I wanted to get this out here before Memorial Day weekend because I know here in Virginia it's going to be rainy, yucky. I don't think many people are going to be out. But in other areas, you're going to be doing hiking and, really enjoying the outdoors over Memorial Day weekend. If you're going to something like a public park, that's a great place to take photos. I have even found fae in trees in the middle of a shopping center parking lot. My son took the photographs and sent them to me. And they were there. The fae were there in those trees. So they can be anywhere. But to get your best chance, I would go to a public park because there's relative safety there. You don't have to worry about carrying all this gear with you. You can sit down on a bench, point your camera towards like a tree line behind you, and just record. And then enjoy the rest of your time. And when you get back home, take a look at those photos. I know that if you have an iPhone, you can put them in iMovie. I've found that's the best app to use initially. Later on, when I post my videos, I go through VN. It's a video editing program, but I even find that difficult to go frame by frame. So if you really want to go frame by frame and you have videotaped something, then put it into the iMovie. Android users, I'm sorry, I have not had an Android in so many years, I have no idea, but I'm sure that there are video editing apps out there that are wonderful, that could certainly get you through this process. And when you're looking at these, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go frame by frame, just like I showed you on this last video. I want you to go frame by frame, and I want you to go slow. And the first thing I want you to look for is movement, because if it moves, it lives. So that's kind of my motto. If it moves, it lives. So go through these frame by frame and look for the movement. Another thing you can look for are the eyes. Now, a little word to the eyes thing. Lately, I have been finding the sabe with one eye open and one eye closed. It's very frustrating. So you just have to try to find at least one eye. And I want you to remember something very, very, very important. You don't know what these beings look like. Most of you don't. Some might, but most of you don't know what they look like. So when you're seeing a figure in the trees that is moving, you can see the movement like this, but there's like all of these guardians all around them. Sometimes they'll have a mustache and you're like, what? A sabe with a mustache? That's just silly. And what it is it's a guardian, because you'll see that mustache move across their face. You'll see it move across their head. They'll climb all around them. So that distorts the image as well. So the best thing you can do is to watch for that movement and try in your head to start making a 3D image of what it looks like. Don't think you're going to get it like the first time unless you are blessed with a very clear photo, because it's very unusual, really. And a lot of times when I take video, it'll look like heat coming up off of hot asphalt in the summer. You know, that shimmering kind of look? That's what it will look like. So that further distorts your image. So if you're going, so I just kind of covered like going to a park with your phone. But now if you really want to be hardcore and you really want to get out there and you want to do some of this on your hiking, I'm going to recommend some things that are very, very important to you. I really, really hope that you will think about my advice and take it. Because I'm out in the mountains by myself in the woods. I sleep in my camper right in the midst of all this crazy stuff. None of them have ever hurt me, but I am loaded up. I stack the odds in my favor for safety. So I would hope that at the very minimum, you'll carry a big can of bear spray. I know it might not look so cool, but you might need it. I don't know if these dog men, if bear spray affects them or not. I've never heard of anybody spraying them, but if that's the only thing I got, I'm going to soak that boy with bear spray, with everything. If you can get a personal locator beacon, I have a McMurdo brand personal locator beacon. And I never do anything in the forest without that being strapped to my hip. Dave Politis, who is a retired police officer with Can-Am Missing 411. Most of you probably are familiar with him. He has an amazing channel. He's did a great job. He's worked so hard to report these odd disappearances. And Dave really recommends a personal locator beacon. Okay, sorry about that. I had to run off for just a quick second. So Dave Politis really recommends this personal locator beacon. I got a McMurdo brand on Amazon. There's no monthly fee, but it did cost me $250. But I feel like my life is worth $250. So I really recommend that you carry that. If you are in a place where you can carry openly in a public place, then I would suggest that you bring some firepower with you as well. Some of the other things you could bring are the loud air horns, the ones that like they start the races with. Those are a great thing to have because they will sort of make make a lot of noise. Of course, I mean, they're deafening, really. So they will, they will deter anything from coming around you. The other thing that I really want to stress to you guys is that when you get back home and you start looking at this footage, when you take the footage, take it in the highest resolution that you possibly can. And when you get home and you're looking at these videos, then I would recommend that you most definitely view these videos on whatever device you have that has the highest resolution. I've had some people say that they can't see these beings at all. I mean, I'm guessing that they're not trolls. I mean, I'm guessing that they really are trying to see them and that they can't see the changes. I would say that when you're first starting out, you might not be able to see the actual beings. You might not be able to spot them. But keep looking, keep at it, and make it like a Where's Waldo puzzle. That's what I did. I kept at it. And I thoroughly believe that photos tell a story. And you have to really look at those photos and look at what's going on in order to figure this thing out, figure this situation out. So the best thing we can do initially is just to give yourself the best chance possible at being able to see them by doing high resolution. Sometimes they look better if you bring your focus out, sometimes in. A lot of times, I will warn you, it looks very grainy when you pull it in close to you, when you give the image a closer look, put a magnifier on it or whatever from your editing program. It will get so grainy that you can't see anything at all. But again, it's the movement of these beings moving around that makes it so difficult. But once you keep on looking at these, try to figure out the story where you are. I also take screenshots of other YouTubers' backgrounds because I'm curious about what is around them. I want to know if their area looks like mine, if the beings in their area look the same as the beings in my area. There is so much diversity, and with all the guardians, it's very hard to tell. Again, like I said, just keep at it. It took me quite a while before I realized what in the world was going on. The very first thing I saw in my photographs was a Sabe from a distance when I did a sweep on August the 7th. That was the first one that I recognized. And then, of course, after that, when I go through my footage, I'm like, whoa. I've gotten to a point now where if I see something in the photograph or in the video, I would have to say probably 95% of the time, I'm correct that that is a being, some kind of an entity. I will watch it to make sure I vet before I show you guys anything, because there's too much craziness in this world, too many people faking stuff. I can't even use Photoshop, so I'm certainly not capable of even faking it. but I do want to make sure that you guys are seeing real things. I'm not going to just make it up because it's too important. If these dimensional gateways are broken down, we're going to see them in real life, and it's much better if you've been desensitized by these images before you actually see them. And it took me about 2 months to wrap my brain around what was going on. One other point I want to tell you about taking the photographs. Scott Carpenter does something that is really smart. I followed his lead, and that's how I got photos of a lot of these things. He puts a camera on his shoulder facing behind him. Well, I have a little camera that I keep losing, and it takes terrible photos, but it will catch some of these things. But usually what I do is I take my phone with the camera and I put it on a lanyard and I strap it behind me and I walk around. And then sometimes I'll carry my iPad up to my chest for a little bit of a way, just to see what I capture that way also. But again, watch for the movement. That's where you start. So you have to go frame by frame. And sometimes in those frames, you might have what looks like 10 different entities. And being able to track all of them through 10 frames might be very hard. So you might want to start with the one that's the clearest, one or two that's the clearest. Track them and see if you see the movement. Now, I am going to be particularly busy over the next 2 weeks because I'm hoping to get up to the cabin after all this bad weather clears. Don't want to go up there near a storm. And I'm probably going to be staying like a week at a time, and there's no cell phone service, there's no Wi-Fi. So it's going to be hard for me to get those videos to you, but I will still continue to film stuff while I'm up there, the cabin build and our little friends. I'll be filming them too. So thank you, my brave souls, so very much for watching this. I wish you the best. If you need to get in touch with me, you can also email me at I am Teresa, just like the channel name. I am Teresa Cryptid, CRYPTID, at gmail.com. So if you have any photographs you want me to look at or play around with, I am glad to do it. Like I said, the next 2 weeks are going to be a little strenuous for me, so I might not get to it right away, so be patient, but I will get to it. Okay, you guys, I will see you soon, and if you have not subscribed, please consider doing so. Thank you. Bye.